of A in Wisconsin. Unthinkable. Little more than, what, 7 or 8 months ago. To the Media Research Center, Rich Noyes, Independent Women's Voices, Lauren Zelt. All right, Rich, my only point on this is it's very, very clear how the media feels on this. I mean, the disproportionate negative stories, sometimes the White House asks for it, but it's getting off message. But this is over the top. I mean, they are running now about 95% negative. I've covered this guy for a while. I would say it's not 95% negative. It might not be a majority positive, but it's not 95% negative. What's going on here? Rich.
Well, I mean, look, they're not interested in all things Trump. They're interested in the things about Trump that fit their agenda. I mean, we looked at last night's evening newscast. We had 16 minutes on things the media regard as big controversies, the Sessions tweets, the ban on transgender people in the military. 16 minutes of that, 40 seconds on Foxconn. Now, that was a White House event. He had the Vice President, Speaker of the House, Governor of Wisconsin, Chairman of Foxconn, is bringing thousands of jobs to the United States, huge investment. This is what the media say they want, how they want the President to act, doing these kinds of big, important things, positive things. It was a positive story, but they didn't give them equal weight. I would cover all the controversies. I think that is news. Right. But if you don't cover this stuff alongside of it, then you have a very skewed news agenda at the end of the day.
Lauren Zelt, what do you think?
Well, you know, Neil, going back to your point about Foxconn, this, by all intents and purposes, has been a great week for the people who elected Donald Trump to the White House. The Foxconn news is outstanding, and we are moving closer to reforming our health care system. You know, the Senate, it looks like they're going to be voting on the skinny repeal bill here either late night or early tomorrow morning, and these are two of the major priorities that voters talked about when they went to the polls last year. Reforming our health care system, bringing jobs back to the United States, and making changes to our tax code so that, you know, employers can grow and create jobs right here. So I do think it's unfortunate that those two stories in particular are not leading the news this week. They should be.
No, I agree with you. There's a lot of good out there that was covered, but yeah. I'll go back to a premise I first raised with Rich, and I definitely want your thoughts on it, Lauren, but Rich, to you on how the President steps on that message. He was the one, and has been the one, dragging this Jeff Sessions thing out. There might be a method to the madness that I don't understand. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, so maybe I'm missing something. But I don't see the value and how it looks in doing that to a guy who was a loyal friend and one of your earliest supporters, whether you think he's doing a bad job or not. By the way, every legal mind I know, including all these Republican senators who've been on this show, say he was perfectly within his right, in his legal demand to recuse himself on this Russia thing. Having said that, he should have, and I think, this is my opinion, he should have just asked the guy, if he doesn't like him, go. It's not working out. But do so behind closed doors, quietly, allow him to resign with dignity, or whatever. You don't like him, fine. But this is killing him. What do you think?
No, I mean, I agree. What is the strategic benefit to the Trump administration by having the Jeff Sessions story out there day after day? Right. I can't see the benefit of it. You know, what they should be doing with their communication, that includes the President's Twitter feed, is trying to feed their story of the day, feed what they want the media to cover. I mean, maybe the President does want the media to be covering this Sessions story. I can't figure out why he would. But, you know, he also tweeted about the Foxconn deal.
You're
the tweet didn't make the media want to cover it. But, you know, he should figure out what his message is and then, you know, put things out there that get the media to focus on that.
You know, and I know he feels very strongly about it, Lauren. I understand his rage. I guess when his son was sort of scooped into this, that was the final straw. So I understand that. But Ronald Reagan famously said, "Never let them see you sweat. Don't let them know you're getting on. They're getting on your nerves." And he had a temper. Maybe not as much of a temper as another cool president of the republic, John Kennedy, but he had a temper too. But he exercised that a little bit differently. Now, all of this has worked for Donald Trump. He's gotten to be president of the United States. All of those character issues notwithstanding, and because of them, I suspect. But I just think it's different now, and he should cool it now. What do you think?
Yeah, I do agree with that. You know, I saw Kellyanne Conway on Fox Business Network earlier today, and what she talked about was that it was the media's job to cover the stories that, you know, are happening. And while I agree with her to a certain extent, it's also the job of the White House communications team and of the president himself to stay on message. You know, what's happening out there right now is what we call unforced errors. There's no need to be talking about anything other than what the president's agenda is, what they're hoping to accomplish. So I just hope that they can be a little more focused moving forward.
I'm old enough to remember Ronald Reagan, when anything unpleasant came up, like he couldn't hear. Remember when Sam Donaldson would ask a nasty question, what? And he wouldn't address it. And that was the way to do it. I just think, you know, you're trying to stay on message. Guys, I want to thank you both very much. Meanwhile, House conservatives are tired of this whole dust-up over Jeff Sessions, but they have another novel idea. How about investigating James Comey?